Hello there! If you are new to the channel, my name is Mark. This is Toast Dragon Fantasy. Today, I'm not talking about books. Today's a writing video. I've said from the start I want the channel to be a book-related channel and a writing-related channel. And today is the first writing video. Today is going to be very much an overview of what I am about as a writer. I'm going to talk about when I started writing. I'm going to talk about some of my book ideas. What do you think of the setup, by the way? I'm not entirely sure about this camera angle. It may change. It probably will change. It almost certainly will change. So, without further ado, let me just get into my writing life, I suppose. I started writing when I was 14. When I was 17, I finished my first full-length manuscript. It was 110,000 words. And then I kind of put it away for a long time whilst I went off to university where I studied writing. Big help. Not. And then I picked it up again when I was about 22. Started working on it properly, you know, with adult eyes. And I'm still working on it today, actually. The book was originally meant to be just one, with then two subsequent books, but this first book of this series has now turned into 3 books. So it's kind of an all-new trilogy, basically, from where it started. I've written 2 of them, and I'm in the process of editing them as and when. And yeah, that's pretty much my writing life. I've written solidly probably for the last 5 years, which I'm pretty proud of. There's probably not been a period longer than 2 weeks, I would say, where I've not written anything. Nothing published as of yet, but hoping this year will be the very first baby steps towards that. Query crafting and all that stuff. Not really much else to say on my writing life, so I suppose I'll get into some of the ideas that I've got. The first one being the one that I did start off as a 14-year-old. It follows the story of the planet of Saphotrix. This is a space opera. I would suggest it's probably young adult space opera, but middle grade people would be able to access it. It's not excessively violent. It's not excessively gratuitous. It doesn't have any swearing in. So, but it follows the planet of Saphotrix, and on this planet there are 3 races of people. There are the Mechanotrons, who are our main guys. They are led by Commander Awitobo, who is pretty much invincible. He's been in command for 20 years. Nothing has got past him. Mechanotron's still standing strong. You also have the Grelodons, who are led by Emperor Algauge, who is ruthless, and they have been on a very, very expansive period of conquering nearby systems, and they want Mechanotron. They want the Mechanotrons. They want Mechana to assimilate into their empire. And you also have the Sukumatrons, who are potentially the pivotal tipping of the balance between the mechs and the Grelodons. So whoever they side with, ultimately we have a major advantage in the battle that is to come. The story follows predominantly Maddox, who is the Nails commander of Mechana's son. Okay, he's 8 years old at the start of the story, and he's very, very good for his age. He's very, very talented. He's got a very, very, very good life. And then tragedy strikes, and he must come to terms with this tragedy. He must adjust. He must learn who he is, effectively. He must try and find his place in this new, scary world in which he has suddenly become very, very vulnerable. And that is what the first book's about. It's him trying to come to terms with what he now must do in order to become commander of Mechana, because he will become commander at 16 years old, as long as he doesn't screw up so bad. But there is a high chance, as the series goes on, that he will screw up quite badly. He's not a perfect kid. He makes mistakes like any normal person. He must get to grips with who he is and what he must do before Emperor Algauge has a chance to claim Mechana, because the noose is tightening, shall we say. They are closing in on Mechana, and unless Maddox can step up to the plate, Emperor Algauge will have his way, and Mechana will cease to become an independent people. So yeah, that is in a nutshell The Commander's Son, which is the working title of the first book. The working title of the second book is Beyond the Veil. Not 100% happy with either title, so there's a good chance that they'll change as well. And the other big project that I have is my adult epic fantasy, which currently has 1 completed manuscript to it, and I am currently working on the second one. The completed manuscript is called The Quins of Sarsarin, and it follows the kingdom of Sarsarin, who are led by King Khufu, who has effectively taken over the entire land in his 20-year reign. It started with his father. He has continued the work. He has just assimilated the south into his kingdom, but whilst there he was visited by a mysterious prophet who laid upon him a prophecy. 9 months later, the Queens of Sarsarin arrive upon the kingdom. They are 5 children who are born by the Queen. They are the King and the Queen's children, and they cost the Queen her life. And this, of course, is devastating for King Khufu. He now must come to terms with the loss of his wife, and he must find a way of accepting these 5 children. He knows of this prophecy about these children. He decides not to share it with the kingdom. And the prophecy is effectively this. These children will be born with power over each of the known elements: fire, water, lightning, earth and nature. They will be able to master them all. They will be able to provide great riches for the kingdom. They could bring great fall for the kingdom. But the big point to them, the tragic side of this prophecy, is that no Queen can meet their end at the hands of anyone other than another Queen. They can only kill one another. It also follows Khufu's 2 eldest children. There are 3 point of views to this book. The eldest child is Harrion, the crown prince, who is spoilt and neglectful and spiteful and arrogant and all the things that you would not want to see in a king. And it gets to the point where Khufu has had enough. He sends his son eventually down south to his newly acquired lands, where there is conspiracy brewing, and it is up to Harrion to try and root out this conspiracy before it can take hold. The story also follows Sylphie, who is the princess, who is very sheltered, very seldom seen outside the palace, and she is content with this life until there comes a time when her only friend in the world is in desperate need of her help. And at that point, Sylphie must make her mind up as to whether she will stay this protected, innocent, sheltered princess no one ever sees, or whether she can break free of those constraints. That, in a nutshell, is The Queens of Sarsarin. As I said, I'm working on the second one right now. It takes place 8 years later, when the babies, as they are in the first one, are a little bit older and are starting to discover themselves and their powers. I was very excited to film this video, actually. I don't talk about my ideas very much to anyone, and it's harder than it looks. I already got rid of this once because I couldn't explain. I couldn't talk about my own ideas that have come from my head, and I need to get good at it, because if I'm going to pitch to people, then I've got to be able to do it effectively. So that is just basically what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. That will tell me how effective this was. If you're new to the channel and you've not come across me before, subscribe and you will see more videos from this channel regularly. Thank you to all those people that are commenting. Thank you to all those people who keep returning. I'm very, very grateful for it. It's never easy as a new channel, and there are a few individuals who are making me feel very, very welcome here, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So thank you to those people. That is all I have today. So, with that being said, my name is Mark. This is Toast Dragon Fantasy, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Goodbye.